You're listening to ayahuascapodcast.com.
People from all around the world coming here, and in such a very short period of time, because of that vulnerability, you truly bond and embrace, where they become people that we've talked to since our first visit, still to this day, like family. And that's had a huge impact for me, switching from working to live and then finally living and giving back. It had such meaning. So all that hard work paid off. And the safety here, there's a community. There's people here that if you need something, they're available. There's a doctor on staff should something happen, because that was one of our concerns. We live out in Fredonia. It's out in the mountains. We call ourselves mountain men with cell phones because we still have access to a high-speed internet. We still have access to a doctor. We get to go to the small villages like Fredonia and Venecia, and already made friends there through the universe connecting us and telling our story with them. And
vida de la baila, cura con LaWayra, limpia, limpia, taita, vibrando con la hualca.
In this episode of Ayahuasca Podcast, I have a conversation with Mike and Kelly. They're a couple who recently retired at LaWayra. We talked to them about why they chose to retire at LaWayra and joining our community. We talk about the importance of community. They share their experiences of retiring in Colombia and living in Colombia, how are people like, how is weather like, and everything. Enjoy this episode. This episode is sponsored by LaWayra Ayahuasca Retreat. At LaWayra, we combine affordability, accessibility, and authenticity. LaWayra, connect, heal, grow. Guys, I'm looking forward to hosting you. Mike and Kelly, tell us a little bit about what brought you to ayahuasca, what brought you to LaWayra, and why then you decided to stay?
Really good question. For me personally, I couldn't describe how or why or what, but I had a strong desire, and learn later it's called the calling, as to what brought me to LaWayra. We had researched other ways to do ayahuasca for healing, and I kept gravitating back to LaWayra for the family atmosphere, for the amount of trust and safety that I saw through some of the other videos. So that brought me here to experience the ayahuasca ceremony. And I can honestly say that I was nervous and scared at first, and going through it, my mind was put at so ease with the amount of safety and trust. Going through the medicine with the taita, with the music vibrations, allowed me to relax. The breath work beforehand allowed me to become in a calming state in the maloka. So it kind of took over. And then through the medicine, I was truly able to get what I needed, not what I thought I wanted. And was really healed in a lot of ways with the anxiety that I had. My mind would race, looking for solutions that didn't need to be solved. It allowed me to have an inner sense of calmness and understanding of truly the things I've experienced in trauma in my life, that it allowed a lot of healing, forgiveness, not for anybody else, but for myself, to be able to let go. And when we walked away from the event, the amount of group therapy through the word circles, along with the medicine, was transformative for me personally. And when we went home, co-workers, people saw a difference in the way I was thinking, behaving, and reacting and doing. And I had such a sense of healing through some of that. I no longer take my anxiety medications and things. I'm able to work through it using nature, meditation, and reflecting back through integration of what I learned. And through that experience, I had such a strong desire to make a change in my life, along with my husband, Kelly, that I no longer wanted to work to live. I wanted to live and not race the clock. And we kind of came to the conclusion that for us, it was a great opportunity for us to be able to give back and help others, and holding space in a way that truly helped us. And couldn't have done it without this man right here as support and open-mindedness, and with his honesty.
Kelly, what about you?
So I'll try to be as brief and concise as possible.
We have
We have time?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in going back to 2019, I lost my husband, partner of 32 years, suddenly and unexpectedly, as you know. And I had experienced a very powerful psychedelic medicine encounter through a shaman with the Hopi tribe, and experienced, like I mentioned, an incredible amount of healing. And it literally saved my life. When I lost my husband, I did end up a month after his passing, once I took care of the services and took care of coordinating everything, I decided that I no longer wanted to be, in this world, be present here. So I ended up attempting suicide, and I was successful. I took enough that I did die, and I was brought back. I was found. I used to say, unfortunately, before ayahuasca, I would say, unfortunately, I was found. Now I can, with my entire heart, say, fortunately, I was found, and I was rushed by ambulance to the hospital where, again, I did die, and they revived me. Even with the amount of drugs, I took 30 Vicodin and a handful of sleeping pills, because I wanted to make sure I had enough to do the job, get it done. And even with all that in my system, I knew when they brought me back, I knew I had gone through the veil, crossed through to the other side, which was beautiful, an amazing experience, but it was short-lived. And when I was brought back through, when I was revived or brought back to life, I was angry and upset. And I can even recall choosing to go back over. I was like, no, I'm just surrendering to death, and I'm going to go ahead and die. And then I died again. And then I was revived once more, and then I was institutionalized for a little while. And then I had family and friends were put in charge of me, and I spent a great deal of time being watched 24/7, was not able to close the bathroom door even for privacy. And so I started seeking answers to how can I experience going through the veil without putting all my family and friends through that same trauma again. And then I did end up finding a medicine called 5-MeO, or 5-methoxydimethyltryptamine, or also known as Bufo. And that's where I met with the shaman from Hopi Reservation, and had an amazing, incredible experience that, again, saved my life. I attribute that to saving my life now. So I started learning more, experiencing more opportunities to dive into the psychedelic community. I joined the Portland Psychedelic Society. I sold the house that my deceased husband and I had owned, and moved to a tiny house that I purchased over the internet, and then went to Oregon area, close to Portland, and stayed there while I was researching more, learning more about psychedelic medicine. And I had initially researched ayahuasca, but then when ayahuasca led me to learning about DMT, and then when I found out about 5-MeO DMT, I had, in my research, found out that was kind of touted or known as the strongest psychedelic known to man. And so I was, and on the planet. So I thought, well, that'll take me back through the veil, which was my intention. I did go back through the veil, and again, it saved my life, and led me on this path that ultimately led me to, exploration with psilocybin or mushrooms, magic mushrooms, and other modalities of healing, always with ayahuasca kind of in the back calling me. I felt like for some reason, I felt like I really need to experience ayahuasca. I did a lot of integration, which for those who may not know, integration is working with different techniques to incorporate your powerful psychedelic experience into living in this world. Unfortunately, there was that part of me that was always homesick. I always wanted to go back home. Again, that means to me going back through the veil. So anytime I would participate in a medicine ceremony myself, I would cross over and become preoccupied with that, wanting to be there, wanting to be on the other side. So I never fully landed my feet back into this place. And I always felt like I was a stranger like a sojourner in a strange land, like I didn't belong. And just constantly missing that longing, having that longing and that missing for home, what I called home. Well, then I met Mike through a hiking group on Facebook, and I never thought I would have feelings for another person because, 32 years with one person and an incredible bond and an amazing experience of love and living together. I just couldn't see that taking place. But when I met Mike, something started opening up in my...
That makes me cry. The tears always seem to flow.
Something started opening back up again. But even with that, I always had that longing. Like I was preoccupied with, I don't want to become too attached because I had that longing continuously, that longing for going to the other side and crossing back through the veil. And in some sense, I felt like that was what was intended for me. Like I felt like I cheated death and I wasn't supposed to be here. And so I didn't want to be unfair to Mike. I didn't want to set him up for, I thought maybe I'll even die in my sleep. I honestly, I felt so connected to the other side that, and fortunately I still do. However, we were talking about taking a vacation, and I never wanted to push psychedelic medicine onto Mike, even after I spent 1.5 years helping people take journeys and helping people integrate their experiences and working with individuals and helping them to heal, but I'd never fully healed myself. And we were talking about vacations, looking into options, and I had shared, of course, my story and my experience and tried not to talk too much about it because I didn't know how interested Mike was or would be. And when we discussed the vacation, he said, well, maybe we could do one of those ayahuasca retreats. And I went, really? And we were even thinking about going to Hawaii. And he had started researching and found LaWayra. And so he was sharing with me what he was finding. And we looked at a lot of options, including Peru. For some reason, it seems like a lot of people think automatically Peru. Mm-hmm. That's kind of... it comes to the forefront of a lot of people's minds automatically with ayahuasca. And so when he mentioned, this is in Colombia, we're looking at it and we started really investigating, reached out. We actually communicated with you, Sam, and your answers were always resonating perfectly with what we were seeking. And then we looked at your mission, the mission of LaWayra, and we looked at how you offer the medicine affordably and you make it attainable, which is something that we think is important for anyone wanting the medicine. Both of us feel that way now entirely. And so we decided, let's do it. We saw the attention to safety. We saw the attention to integration, which, as I mentioned, I know the importance of. And I came here with an intention of just trying to get answers and trying to find out how I can not continue to feel like such a stranger in this land so that I wouldn't become a stranger to Mike in our relationship. And when we came for 11 days, the last 2 of the medicine ceremonies, I had many powerful experiences, every single one powerful. The last 2, I had such a significant breakthrough where I realized my preoccupation with crossing through the veil. I wasn't even completely aware of it. Mm-hmm. And so I became like, I obtained a heightened sensitivity to an understanding of, you are in this world, you belong in this world, you have someone who loves you, who deserves to be loved so much. And so the breakthrough helped me to put my feet back on the ground. And then I think it's also helped me to become an even more effective integrator, someone for myself and for others. And now that we decided, let's look into a property. Let's see if we can find something near LaWayra so that we can have an opportunity to come and show support for for your dream, for your vision, for what you're manifesting. And when we reached out to you and you said, it's funny you reach out. We just today you said you had someone at this property tell you that the property they're looking to sell it. We follow synchronicity. We believe in synchronicity. And so we paid attention to the signs. And then, it's been almost 6 months or maybe 6 or 7 months later. And here we are. We're now part of the LaWayra growing community. We're members of the community, and we are contributing. We're able to, come and participate with those that are coming from all over the world. We just recently sat down. We were talking about how we had breakfast with a group of people, and here we have people coming from, we're with someone from Brazil, someone from Israel, someone from Iran, someone from Netherlands, someone from Germany, someone from Japan, Ethiopia. Well, I mean, there were so many countries represented at the table where we sat and broke bread together. And these are all people coming for the same thing, for a sense of understanding of their purpose and for a sense of love and community. And we're excited to be at this stage in the growth of the community, and we're looking forward to seeing more join us.
Thank you, Mike and Kelly. Thank you for sharing your story. I've heard it a few times, but it never ceases to amaze me. And Mike is a crier. He cries.
I am a town crier. I am not. That's the thing with ayahuasca. The vulnerability of being part of the group. You drop all of your fears, things that I wouldn't normally be able to talk to with close relatives or close loved ones. When you're in that group setting and you let down that wall and you open up, there is truly where the healing begins. And that vulnerability, yes, I'm kind of the town crier where as an empath, I feel other people's emotions, and the relatability to their stories triggers things in myself.
For those of you watching us on video, and if you don't, I recommend check the YouTube version of this podcast. Behind us, you could see this beautiful 2-story house. This is where Mike and Kelly are going to be retiring, and you can also see their dog walking around. So the story about this house is really interesting. It's a very Colombian story. So when we brought the property where LaWayra is, which is 4 hectares altogether, and 2% of this property belonged to another person that basically owns this little piece. And I always was a little stressed about it. I didn't like the setup because it does not define which part of the property he actually owns. So the day, one day he calls me, the owner of this property. He says, I really want to sell it. There's an apartment in Medellin I want to buy. And do you know anyone? And then the same day, a few hours later, Mike and Kelly call me and say, is there any property nearby? So synchronicities, we believe in synchronicities. They are everywhere in our life. LaWayra is a result of a synchronicity in itself, and the reason we're here is a synchronicity. Everything is a synchronicity. So that caught my attention, and then Mike and Kelly's attention as well. So we started this process, and it lasted for 3 months? How long from the moment you came to retreat to you actually coming and settling here?
It was about 5 or 6 months. Yeah.
So it was a relatively quick decision, but maybe last 3 months of that, it was just making it work. So it was an interesting process. So, but a lot of people know LaWayra as an ayahuasca retreat, and that's what we are. But there's another side to LaWayra, another facet, which is a community. We want to create a conscious community of people who want to live their life differently. And for the LaWayra retreat, the motto is connect, heal, grow. And that's what we do and achieve every time. But for the community part is come for ayahuasca and stay for the community. The way it works is people come, they experience ayahuasca, and they experience this opening and sharing with people vulnerably. They feel the love, they feel support, and then they might think, I'm working online, I don't really need to be anywhere, or I'm retired, so I don't really need to be anywhere. I'd rather just stay here, and that's how the community is growing. So Mike and Kelly are the the very first, so we have our team, we have our permanent team members, we have our volunteers, and we have people that come here. I think the longest stay was maybe 3 months. Somebody who just rented a cabin and they stayed with us and worked online, drank some ayahuasca, etc. But Mike and Kelly are here for 15 years, so that they are forming this nucleus of this community that hopefully will grow and burgeon on its own and going to be a organism, this beautiful thing we're trying to create. But the idea is for somebody to just, I think that somebody who experiences LaWayra and feels that feeling after, this work with ayahuasca and opening, a lot of people don't want to leave. Like every time the bus comes, people are there for an hour and saying goodbye, and they don't really want to leave. Sometimes they have to, but what our guess is, we have a co-working space and we have a high-speed internet, 500 megabits. So some of the remote workers, people that are retiring, hopefully eventually will start to stay here and the community will grow. And then as you have, the bigger the community, the more entertained, the more connections you have. And obviously people will still be drinking ayahuasca here and there and working on their own healing journey. So I am very excited about that. But what we'll do now is we will move our position to the shade because it is really hot and sunny here in Colombia. Not too hot and sunny, and we'll talk about the nitty-gritty of retiring in Colombia. So guys, how does it feel retiring in Colombia? And what's the process like? What are the unexpected things and what are the exciting things? What are maybe not exciting things?
Well, let me start. I'm going to start kind of out of order because it's the payoff that I think is the most impactful. In the mornings, I have my routine of coming out to our hammocks, laying down, watching the mountains, watching the cows walk across the pastures.
Let me just quickly show your view.
Yeah, when I lay in this hammock and I can see the cows walking across the pasture, and I can see the fog coming in some days or the sunshine just coming over the mountains. Tranquilo. It is just the most meditational aspect of my morning that I like to start off with. So that for me is the biggest payoff in terms of being part of the community, but having this serenity. I was a workaholic. I was a bank manager for 30 years for a nonprofit bank, and it was a very intense job. And through the healing, I also learned that I needed to start to put myself first, and the life I was living needed to change for my own well-being. So making that decision, it just was one of those where I knew I had to do that. And we had the opportunity to make it happen. Yes, it was a lot of work. It was, we had a home together that we only owned for a year. And we had all of our belongings in it with like nautical oil paintings and collected stuff. But it was an easy decision. And it was a freeing decision to say, let's put our house up on the market, sell it, get that process started, have a way to give some of our favorite items to our loved ones, of friends that we had in Portland. So we knew they were going to good hands. The universe brought us some really good people to help us sell some of the other collectible belongings, to afford us the privilege to make the move happen. So we sold the house and we said, we're starting fresh. This new chapter, it's not belongings that mean the most to us. It's each other. My husband, myself, and my dog. We came here with just 5 suitcases and got rid of everything else to have a real, true, fresh start. And there's something freeing about that, releasing your belongings, which really mean nothing. It's the experiences in life and what you carry from inside that means the most. And that has been the most impact. All of the work has paid off. We even had to find a way to get our dog here. I've had Cooper since he was 3 years old, and he's an emotional support animal for me. When I was going through a lot of anxiety. Cooper, best boy ever. He is such a good boy. I call him my little moose because he's pretty big, but he's my goofball. And he's helped me heal as well by giving me big hugs. Any comments, Coops? Cool. But even the challenge of had to bring the dog. We found out through the universe handing us people and communicating, we found that we had to do a couple different steps and, found the perfect airline to get him on, which required us to road trip with him from Portland, Oregon to Los Angeles. And then it allowed us the opportunity to spend time with one of our close friends in the Southern California area, and got him on the plane with us, and he did so good on the plane. I was so grateful. And then we landed here where it's like, wow, we have the three of us, and we have this home, and we have the views, the mountains, and most importantly, the people here, and a way to give back the way it's impacted us. We get to experience the constant onflow of people from all around the world coming here. And in such a very short period of time, because of that vulnerability, you truly bond and embrace, where they become people that we've talked to since our first visit, still to this day, like family. And that's had a huge impact of, for me, switching from working to live and then finally living and giving back. It had such meaning. So all that hard work paid off, and the safety here. There's a community. There's people here that if you need something, they're available. There's a doctor on staff should something happen, because that was one of our concerns. We live out in Fredonia. It's out in the mountains. We call ourselves mountain men with cell phones, because we still have access to a high-speed internet. We still have access to a doctor. We get to go to the small villages like Fredonia and Venecia, and already made friends there through the universe connecting us and telling our story with them. And a lot of them are now saying, oh, we're intrigued. Just send me the link to LaWayra. Tell me more. And we're very open about all of that because of what it's done for us. So all that hard work has really paid off. We've even got things like our driver's license going so that we can give ourselves the ability to go on road trips to waterfalls and rivers and explore more, which in my past life was spending a lot of time camping and backpacking to get away from the work life and disconnect for a weekend. I mean, now I'm living that. I get to disconnect and connect with nature on a regular basis, and with people that just I can give my heart to, and they're absolutely embracing it and benefiting by it. And then in turn, I benefit by it. So a lot involved, but so worth it.
What about you, Kelly? What do you think about Colombian people?
Oh my God, the people are amazing. The people here are incredible. And Mike and I are not fluent Spanish speakers by any stretch of the imagination. And I mean, we know very, very, very little. And so we are enrolled in classes for Spanish online. So the beauty of having the high-speed internet connection is that we have been able to sit down or do the classes, but we're learning fast. It took us a little while to get things settled in with the coursework, and we finally did a few weeks ago. And even yesterday when I went down to Medellin and was taking the exams for the driver's license, talking with the staff there, they started asking, where are you from? And they asked some questions. And so some things I didn't quite understand, but I started telling them, discúlpame, yo tengo 3 años, escuela para español, and yo hablo muy poquito, but posible pero en 3 o 4 meses posible hablar muchas más, and comprendes muchas más. And so basically what I just said, if you don't know Spanish, is that we're enrolled in school, and that we've only been enrolled for 3 weeks, and we are learning Spanish, and that in 3 or 4 months, we expect to be able to speak much more fluently. But they were surprised, even taking the eye exam, going, reading off the numbers, I was able to read off the numbers in Spanish, of course. And then when they would give me direction, for fingerprinting and everything, I was able to follow and knew what they were asking. So already it comes fast, but that's also the beauty of the immersion here with the staff at LaWayra who speak Spanish are so friendly and so nice. And they've been corresponding with us to help us. And when we say something, they'll let us know if we're saying it correct or if we need to adjust how we're saying it. So that immersion is helping us to learn the language more quickly.
So your Spanish classes was also part of your visa acquisition. So talk to me about that. What options did you find? How did it work?
So because we retired early, like Mike said, we decided we're not going to just live to work. We're going to retire early. So
Just live to work. You're gonna work to live.
yeah, we're going to wait.
We're going to
Confusing.
Yes.
Yeah,
What I mean by so it's a phrase. All I was doing was working, and then finding a pocket of time to live a little bit. And I was buying stuff on Amazon, stuff I didn't need.
Yeah.
So I reversed that and said, I don't need to work so much because I don't need so much. I need experiences. So now I can shift that and now I can live more versus work more. So the hardest part for me was putting in that notice at work and saying, this is going to be my last day at work. They didn't even believe me because of how much of a hard worker I was and such an integral part of the banking system. But I had to do something for myself and then for my husband and for my life to change that. So that's why I say now I'm living in life. I'm not working to live.
Yeah, we used to.
We now have you as a hard worker here at LaWayra, volunteer. And we'll talk about that part later. But the something you just described is, I don't know if you've seen Fight Club, but this famous quote, we work jobs we hate to buy things we don't need to impress people we don't like.
know. Yeah, or don't.
So what we're doing here at LaWayra is basically the opposite of that, which is, connections first and then very little or none of, possessions and stuff like that. We all wear same t-shirts. So, but yeah, talk to us about the visa process.
Yeah, so that was something that was a little bit complicated and a little difficult to understand at first. And we actually joined a Facebook expat group for Colombia, which has been extremely helpful. But still, you do find that there is some, some confusion. Sometimes people will share information incorrectly. But overall, if you just dive into it and you find the resources, you can get to the source of the material that's needed. But one of the things that Mike and I are excited about is, as a part of this community, if people come to LaWayra and they visit, we've already shared with several people who have mentioned the idea of coming. We explained to them that we researched all the options, the visa options, but we chose student visa because we were going to be studying Spanish anyway. Ultimately, our intention is to modify that to be a retirement visa. But with the individuals that we've been connecting with, we share information with them and then we say, follow up with us. You don't have to learn the hard way. You don't have to, swim through so many muddy waters. And you were helpful too. We called you and you got us on the phone and you explained to us, some of the visa options. We just, we're both kind of have a tendency to really research and maybe over-research, but we did it, and some of the steps involved were, like I said, a little bit challenging, but they're so worth it. And we retired early, so that was, a decision that we made. Like I encourage people, don't wait until you're eligible for retirement. If you can afford to retire early by moving to Colombia, the cost of living here is so incredibly, it's so affordable. And, by comparison to being where we came from, the United States, or any of the other parts of the world, a lot of the people we talk to, it's the same, a lot of the people we've been sharing with recently. But yeah, so the visa application, we've gone through those steps and applied for the student visa. And the day that we were approved, it was a celebration day for us. We expected to be approved, but you never know. You're always unsure until you get that final stamp. And then also for the driver's license and for, learning about we're going to be purchasing a vehicle.
Do you have your cedula already?
We did go in and we applied for the cedula. They are backed up right now. So
when you get it, you'll be so excited as well.
Yes, we're looking forward. They had initially said 6 weeks to return. To pick that up, but now they're a few months behind because there are
really a lot of people are coming to Colombia.
A lot of people are finding Colombia. They are, and the beautiful thing about Colombia is that there's something here for everyone. We went into Poblado and visited. Of course, that's a little more Americanized. That's where you can go where a lot of people do speak English. But like Mike mentioned, we like to go into Venecia and we like to go into Fredonia. We've made friends there. They speak Spanish, which helps us to speak Spanish.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, how it feels to be retired. And I kind of gonna offer my thoughts on it. It's like, normally, like, let's say, imagine retiring in a different country where you come to a new place. Like you just go and move to Medellin and you retire, and then you kind of have to, piece by piece, meet some people, good ones, bad ones. So I guess the beauty of you retiring at LaWayra is like, not only you got support and like help in finding out how to do it all, and limited because I'm very busy, but still I was able to connect it to my lawyer and stuff like that. But you get a community automatically. It's like it's already here, and it's already like pre-filtered, cream of the crop, people that are working on themselves, people that are able to form emotional connections, because a lot of times, older American people tend to be sometimes very closed up and very traumatized by, an entire lifetime of not being happy. So, but talk to me about, both of you, what's the feeling of being retired? Do you find yourself maybe bored, or, the common scares, and how do you think being at LaWayra and also being able to volunteer maybe gives you some options to not be as bored?
Well, honestly, we haven't had time to be bored yet, because we
wish.
We've literally been here for 5-6 weeks.
Yeah.
And so we've been, we wanted to get some of the basic essentials. We went into Fredonia, and we've kind of learned the bus routes and the taxi routes and all that because we haven't had a vehicle. But we did purchase a refrigerator and a washing machine. We like to do the drying of the clothes the Colombian way now, which is amazing because now we get to appreciate what it's like to have clothes that are dried by the sunshine and in the air, so that it smells so fresh.
It smells like the fresh, not like a fragrance called fountain air fresh.
Yeah.
It's the true.
It's the true mountain air fresh. Yeah. So we have stayed busy and getting enrolled in and starting school, and then also getting acclimated to our volunteer contributions in LaWayra, and kind of, we're figuring it all out, and we're working to kind of determine what our schedules are going to look like. But the beautiful thing is that when we left LaWayra after our 11 days stay, we had a community that we had bonded with so incredibly that we knew when we returned, we're coming back to a community and to a family. And that's because that's what LaWayra feels like. It's like a family. And there's just this sense of, you don't feel like you're moving to a strange land with strange people. You come and immediately, reconnect with the family that you shared through the medicine, through ayahuasca. You've shared with, we keep saying vulnerable. You've shared your most vulnerable positions in life, and experiences in life. So that sense of family just continues to grow. And then as far as food, the food here in Colombia is so incredibly tasteful. I mean, it's natural. It's, the food at LaWayra is so healthy. And then, you never could believe that healthy food could taste so good. When we left LaWayra and went back to the United States and started eating our, processed foods again, we're like, oh man. And, that is just one of the many benefits of the community here is
come for ayahuasca, stay for the food.
Yes.
Oh, I can talk about food a lot.
Yeah. So, if I could say anything to anyone considering early retirement, or maybe you're at retirement age, I'm 60, so early retirement, Mike's 54, so early retirement. We couldn't do this anywhere else. And that's honestly just an added benefit that we're able to retire early and live so affordably. That's an added benefit. The most important aspects of living here is the simplicity of life, the quality of life, and the community, the family. That's really what I would sum up as what the greatest appeal is.
And as in your volunteering, because you're just starting, we're giving you easy time so you can figure everything. So what do you notice when it comes to how groups come and how groups leave?
When they show up, they're a bunch of people who don't know one another, and they're, in a sense, a lot of times people show up and they're kind of a little bit lost. Most people come by themselves. They come as an individual, as one person on a unique soul journey. And then when they leave as part of a group of people that, like I just expressed, that have become their family. And they leave having shared so much with one another and hugging and holding each other, crying together, laughing together. And when they leave, the hands down, everyone is like, I don't want to say goodbye. I don't want to go. I don't want to, I don't want to leave. And fortunately, we have WhatsApp. But it's not the same. But there's an opportunity to stay in touch. I should hand the mic to Mike.
There you go. People come heavy and leave light.
Yeah.
They all come like super heavy, and they all leave like almost floating.
And many of them, when they have the opportunity, will extend their stay because they're not ready to leave. Mm-hmm. So, and that's the beauty. To comment on retirement from me, I come from this Italian family that I thought I would be working till the day I died, couldn't afford anything else other than that. So retirement was really never an option. I thought I would just work my way into a assisted living facility and be probably the crazy old man playing poker and having Jello with my neighbors. But the change of life of I'm now connected with like-minded individuals that I'm able to give back and share openly with. It's a change in life for such the better for me personally, where I'm retired, but I'm busy. It's a situation where I'm not working, I'm doing the things that I love and want to do, and I'm searching for ways to find more time to do the things I want, such as spending time helping others, being part of the ceremony, and then holding space. And really what I mean by that is just being there, present. So if anybody needs anything, I'm there, I'm attentive, and things like that. That's not just sitting in a home with people I don't even know. This is family here with me that knows me from the deepest, darkest sides. And not only they accept and embrace it, but they encourage me to keep speaking about it because it helps them as well. And then when the people come in for the trips, they come in not knowing anything, sometimes very nervous. And while we're having that first meal, we can kind of let them know, you know what, you're not alone. It's a little nervous at first, but it's amazing to see over a short period of time the change in individuals, the change in the community that they found, where with that openness, yeah, they're like family by the end of it, that have discussed things that they wouldn't discuss with a lot of people in their lives. So that openness just helps. And then the plant medicine allows you to really look from within and share. The word circles for me were a way of sharing your experiences and the relatability. And so retiring for me is I'm not with a bunch of strangers. I mean, I'm enriched with the environment within nature. I'm enriched with people that just get it, that get me, and I get them. So there's no price tag I can put on that. There's nothing on Amazon I could buy for that. I don't need materials as much as I just need that openness and that love, and to be able to give somebody a hug. Hugs are free, and I have an unlimited supply to be able to give out. So for me, that's the most amazing gift. And then we talk about the food. It's funny, I didn't really know too much Spanish back in high school about 30 years ago. I studied Spanish for 3 years, and I could probably conjugate a verb, but I couldn't really get through speaking. But being here with the full immersion, I find myself through food, because I'm a foodie, I love food. I'll go and speak with some of the people down at the kitchen and just let them know, ay, que rico, ay, delicioso, comida es mi corazón. Like, I speak from the heart when it comes to food, and it just opens up that doorway of the kind people here everywhere, even in the small villages. There is no stigma of, oh, you're an American, you must speak our language. I come from the standpoint of, no, I want to embrace your culture. Please teach me more about it. And because of that openness, I mean, we were just at a restaurant yesterday and the chef kept bringing out more dishes for us to try and some food to take home with us. And we didn't speak the same language, but we got through it together. When I say people are kind here, they don't look for a way to just answer your question. Oh, no, they will hold you by the hand, take you to go get it done, and then tell you what else you need to do. I mean, it's a true sense of help. I didn't know what someone helping another person was till I got here in Colombia. The culture here is just open heart, open mind. They truly want to help and see you embrace the culture more. And the food here is absolutely incredible. And it's healthy. Like, I look at the avocados we'd have to like each eat an avocado, and here you get the aguacates that are like the size of almost a football. You have to cut in four to be able to eat them, and they're fresh grown. There's all these trees around where you go and you pick a mango and make that into your juice or eat it, or you pick the avocados from the tree and there's your food. I mean, talk about the most amazing connection with nature. I mean, for sustenance, and it's so healthy, so good. Ay, qué rico. I'm even learning how to pronounce things the proper Colombian way.
So what do you think about the facilities? You know, have you already been to the pool or maybe gym? Do you go to the creek? I know I forgot your dog's name for some reason.
Cooper.
I know Cooper and he uses the creek.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, that's funny because I didn't know where the creek was until Cooper came home. We had let him outside. There are 4 to 5 other dogs already on the property. They're already best friends, and Cooper runs with the pack. He sits on the little hillside and waits for them to get released, and then they go on a little adventure. 2 hours later, Cooper comes home soaking wet, and I'm like, so apparently you found the creek. You'll have to show me where that was. So even he is embracing the culture of his little perro friends. But yeah, the facilities here, it's like there is a lot of really good serenity. There is a creek, and just the sounds of the creeks, or with all the winds going through the trees and stuff, it just brings a sense of calmness. And then there are the swimming pool area where you can cool off and hang out with friends. And to the side of that is a view of the mountains, which is also just beautiful. There's a circle of hammocks, so you can sit there and someone that you may not even know will come up and we'll have a conversation, but not just a regular conversation, a truly meaningful, deep conversation about their life and what they've gone through. And I mean, it's a true conversation, not just talking to somebody. Yeah, there's the gym there, and it's great when you walk by to go to the Maloca, you see Sam's house and wave to his kids and get to play with them. I get to teach what I call my little professor. He teaches me some Spanish. I teach him some English, so it becomes even fun. We talk about his toys a lot, but right below there, there's the gym that has all the gym equipment. So, you know, there are so amenities here. And then you walk by the market and the kitchen and you see the staff there. And I love the fact that they don't really speak English, because it helps me to learn the language, and how that has helped us to become like family even deeper, because there's a language barrier, but not a love barrier and an understanding barrier. So every time they're feeding me, I feel so grateful because they make it with such love. And every meal is just, ooh, I got to go back and try and recreate this in the kitchen myself because it's so good. But they cook it with love, and they take such good care of us. They even take the fruit from the trees and make juices. And I'm always like, I don't even know what juice this is. So let me go back to the kitchen and work through what the juice is. It's amazing, the variety of fruits here. And it's all natural. It's all organic. No pesticides or any of that stuff. You feel so much healthier. When I went back to the United States and we were eating some of the other food there, it's like, I'm going to gain 30 pounds. Everything has sugar added to it. Everything has preservatives added to it. Everything has additives that make you want to crave more. And now it's like the healthier eating with the healthier lifestyle. I mean, it's that inner calmness that comes out from all of it together. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, another part is that for people that saw the view, I'll show it again. Yet you might assume that we're in the middle of nowhere in the jungle, but in reality, once you guys have your car, will be, 50 minutes away from Medellin? That's how much it takes me to drive. So it's, Medellin is international hub, and there's a lot of things happening. So it's good to have that. So what would you tell someone who still thinks Colombia is just Pablo Escobar and narcos and the ayahuasca is a drug? What would you tell those people?
I'll tell you, when we came, so many people that care about us, friends and family, and that were worried about us, were telling us, you better be careful, you better make sure, you know where you're going, you better, there was so much concern. And we fortunately had gone on YouTube and done a lot of research on what has transpired in Colombia and how far removed it is from that whole narco run culture. And we learned a lot about Comuna 13 out, in the Medellin area, and how that's been completely transformed. And so we came with an expectation that things are, calmer, that we thought maybe it'll be at least as good as the United States. That's what we were thinking. Because in the United States, you face it, there's a lot of areas where you don't go out at night, or neighborhoods you don't go into. And so we thought, well, it'll just be one of those situations. We'll just know, we'll learn where to go and where not to go. Well, we've ventured out, and everywhere we've gone, we've been embraced, and we've had encounters with so many people within the Colombian cities and communities, including Uber drivers, taxi drivers, bus driver, people in teaching our classes online for Spanish, and students in Colombia that we're connecting with online that have just embraced us and shared so much about how proud they are of what Colombia is today. I think people would be surprised if they're still watching shows like the Griselda, or they're watching shows on, that where it gets sensationalized, and they come here, they will be so surprised. And especially if they come from a big city and they go visit a big city, and they, like Medellin, first of all, they'll be surprised at how much of a big city it really is if they don't know. It's a metropolis, and it's not that far away. And we feel like we're in the middle of nowhere here, but like you said, 50 minutes, we can be in the middle of where anything you could imagine that you would want to, have. They have it all in Medellin, but they have it all with a sense of pride for what Colombia has become, how it's just been restored, and the people we hear the word hope so often. Like, I guess hope was something that the community embraced, was the hope in revitalization, and now they're living what they hoped for, and they're so proud of it. So yeah, I would encourage people, visit. If come, even like you say, come for the ayahuasca, you'll end up staying. Come for the ayahuasca, and you'll be surprised when if you fly into Medellin, stay a night before, and kind of explore a little bit, and then come over, just do some YouTube video searches on what's happening in Colombia, and beware of clickbait. There are people who try to sit, just like the media in the United States. It's not as common as it is in the United States, but there is the people who try to sensationalize and try to get you to click on their videos using fear. And that's something that the beauty of LaWayra is, there is no fear in LaWayra. And you face your fears internally, and you learn to embrace the love of the culture in Colombia. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, I actually have a comment on that too, because in my walk of life, I've lived in New York City, I've lived in Boston, I've lived in Chicago, I've lived in San Francisco, I've lived in Oakland, I've lived in Florida and Pennsylvania. So I was like, oh, wow. Everybody tells you, oh, watch out for Colombia. That's what you see in the movies of what used to be. But where it is today, I can tell you, Medellin, which is so close, like I'm out here looking at the cows and the mountains and serenity, but so close is kind of the feeling of like New York City, with the artwork, the murals of graffiti that are just all about hope and sending an inspirational message. Comuna 13 used to be like the war zone. Now it's an art zone where there's people dancing and artwork that you can purchase, and food. Lots of food. And it's so transformed. And you hear about like, hey, watch yourself, this and that. I mean, I can honestly say I've lived in New York, and I mean, I'd be more fearful walking through some of the neighborhoods in New York or even in Boston or any of those than I would be standing in Medellin anywhere. The people are truly here wanting to embrace and help and welcome you in a way and share that change of where they are today and that hope being shared versus the fear that's kind of pushed onto you. I feel so much safer here than I do even when I lived in Portland, Oregon. I mean, in Portland, there's a lot of help needed for the homeless and the camps set up and everything. Here, the community comes together to help each other. So you don't see those same kind of things. And the way you feel safe even walking through the city streets is not what was projected from the past. It's help, hope, family. Family is huge here. They even, like on some of the days, on Sundays, shut down some of the city streets so that the families can come out, be with the community, ride their bikes, walk their dogs, and do all of that. I mean, I'm a dog owner and I love my dog. We even found our way into one of the malls in Medellin, which is a huge mall, and they had so many people walking around with their dogs at the food court. They had a special food court that included dogs and everything else. And I was like, they embrace family, and including the furry family that's part of the lives. It goes that deep of the change. And I was just eyes open, heart open, and just welcoming it all. It's so much better than even I expected.
I remember coming to Colombia first about 8 years ago. I was also really afraid, but a lot of good things happened to me for not, going with that fear. Same with ayahuasca. I was really afraid first time I was doing ayahuasca, but learned that it was a beautiful medicine. And there's so many misconceptions, Narcos and this and all the shows, and Pablo Escobar is long gone, like 30 years. Like, why are you still holding on to that?
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do with LaWayra as well is one of my desires is to slowly, of course, it's going to take probably my entire lifetime, but rebrand Colombia from cocaine to ayahuasca. It's like those plants, they grow in the same region. And it would be good to just slowly move away from the bad things and embrace the good things. It's kind of like that would be a really good recovery story for Colombia. But I need to somehow get in touch with whoever governs it to give them the slogan. Maybe we'll catch on. And guys, thank you so much for sharing. I think people will find it interesting to see how you can be brave and do crazy things like this, move to another country, retire. It's like ayahuasca plus Colombia plus, people think like, wow, you're crazy, but who's actually crazy? You don't really know.
Being stuck in your life of just working and buying. Yeah. Being stuck in your life and just working and buying and competing with the Joneses. They got a new car, so I have to get a new car. I've learned that's the crazy part. Actually being here and having inner peace. I mean, that's the beautiful part. The people, the culture, the food, that's the beauty of it all. What I was living in the States was crazy. People would tell me, oh, you have a lot of courage to do what you're doing. And I was like, I wouldn't be sustainable doing what I was doing back in the United States. So without that life change, it wasn't courage. It was the need for a change for myself, to love myself again, and ayahuasca really through that journey of plant medicine helped me to realize and get that internal hug that I deserve it and that this is the life I got out of it. I mean, I had to do it. That's what I say, the calling. I don't even know what to put words into it, but I just knew what we needed to do. And I'm so lucky to have the husband I have that was without even finishing the sentences, he's already planning out how we're going to make this happen. We're so in sync. So to go through this journey together was it's what needed to happen.
Yeah, people focus a lot on consequences of doing something, but they rarely think about consequences of not doing something. So we just kind of, it's like that frog that the temperature is slowly rising. It's hard to notice, but the U.S. is in a dire state now. There's a lot of mental health issues, a lot of physical health issues, a lot of issues generally. And I'm not saying Colombia is perfect, but here you do feel that sense of things improving, and as opposed to like U.S. and Western Europe, kind of like you feel everything is like slowly dying.
Yeah, it's like a divided country right now where there's what you're seeing is a lot of people with different opinions, and it's not okay for them to keep it to themselves. They have to put it on you. And it's like, you know, there's such a divided country, not even with politics, but just the way people are thinking, and it causes chaos. And you come here and it feels like everybody's kind of on the same page of having a better life, appreciating the things that are simple, appreciating family, appreciating people. And even with the differences of language or the way somebody looks, I mean, it's embraced here. I'll even tell the story of, you know, we were kind of concerned of, here we are, a gay couple coming to Colombia. And I come from an Italian background that's like very machismo and things like that. And, you know, but you come here in 2016, they recognize same-sex marriage. We'll be in like a small town and I'll introduce Kelly as mi esposo. This is my husband. And they just want to give us a hug. And I was at first shocked by that. But even that is so embraced here, that difference, they embrace the differences versus what I see in the United States is if you're different, well, then I have to tell you my ways and share my opinion. And it becomes this big debate where it's like, you be you, I'll be me, and let me just coexist. You actually have that here, and they appreciate that. And then you go down to LaWayra and you're like, all of those kind of like perceptions and what we wear or what people think or that judging a book by its cover are so completely removed because you have that same open heart. It doesn't matter your walk of life or where you've come from, what you wear, what you look like, what culture. When I say that like-mindedness, it's about what you want out of life, what you're getting out of life, and how you want to help and treat others. It's that commonality that's embraced versus causing division. It's so eye-opening and so refreshing. Like, I know that with the work we had to do to retire, it needed to happen, and it's the best thing that changed my life. It changed our life. I mean, you saw what it looks like out there. I get to wake up to that every day and walk down and see the family. So
interesting what you said about the judging of people. You notice sometimes a group comes and you look around and you're like, oh, this might be this and this has to be this, and then it's like, always you're wrong.
yes.
When the week progresses, people start opening up. You're like, oh, you're, and that's automatic. It's not like you can say, no, I don't judge people. Well, you're lying. We all have this mechanism to automatically assume, and then you notice that, you know what, actually I was wrong over and over again.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that because I've had several occasions where when you're first sitting around that circle, you don't even need or you don't know anybody else's names, and you don't want to kind of try to figure out who they are, their walk of life, or in their first conversation, you hear what they're talking about or what their concerns are. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a person I'm not going to bond with at all. And then it's funny because at the end of the week, those people have been the ones that I bonded with the most, that I'm like, oh, we have a lot more in common than anything else. And what I thought was going to come out of their mouth was nothing like that. And they're the ones that, to this day, we still communicate on a regular basis. And I'm like, wow, when I first met you, I didn't think we would get each other. But that common denominator of what our inner being is, it's made ourselves even stronger.
And you mentioned about politics, so I just want to say, we don't do politics in LaWayra. I'm sure people have different political views, but that's not important. So if you're tired of politics, consider coming here. We just, it's so far away from here. Why would we even be bothered? So thank you guys for sharing, and thank you guys for listening and watching this podcast episode. For those of you who want to come, maybe retire in Colombia, hopefully it gave you some ideas. For those of you who want to come to LaWayra as a retreat and just participate in the Ayahuasca ceremony, well, now you met part of our team and part of our community. For those who want to come and retire at LaWayra, now you know the kind of class of people you will be spending time with, and this is just the tip of the iceberg for our team, and there's so much love, and it almost feels too good to be true. You know, it's like,
Right.
because you
Wait to
feel,
be pinched and wake up from it all. And it's like, is this really reality? Yeah.
Yeah, this side of the veil is good.
yeah. So thank you guys for listening. And whenever you're ready, we'll be ready to host you.
Come for hugs.
Yeah. Hugs are waiting.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to support us and Psychedelic Renaissance at large, please follow us and leave us a like wherever it is you're listening. Share this episode with someone who will benefit from this information. Nothing in this podcast is intended as medical advice, and it is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This episode is sponsored by LaWayra Ayahuasca Retreat. At LaWayra, we combine affordability, accessibility, and authenticity. LaWayra, connect, heal, grow. Guys, I'm looking forward to hosting you.
Trae con la vida, vida de la baila, cura con la guaira, limpia, limpia, taita, viva.